still speaking in the background, but I'm already there. So you can ask your friends and your followers to click on our YouTube link, and they're gonna follow us live on the show. Okay.
Okay, good.
Evidence.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're live on the Pan African Daily TV, and I'm very excited to welcome each and every one of you that is joining the stream today on Wednesday. Yeah. And yesterday we couldn't be live because of technical teamwork and other organization that we usually would have on the Pan African Daily TV. So today we are talking on the topic of our African migrants, leaving the continent under terrible conditions and, relocating to Europe or to look for greener pastures. We want to know what these challenges are. We want to hear the perspective of two young, handsome Africans who are experts also. I mean, one is a migrant himself. He's going to share his experience with us. And the other one is young politician that is aspiring to be a future leader. So we want to know how they think about a situation like this. How are they going to address these situations of our people dying all the time, crossing to come over to Europe? If you are joining this stream today, I want to welcome you. Yes, and if it is your first time being here and you don't know the rules of the Pan African Daily TV, what you need to do is just click and share the link in your groups and invite each and every African on the planet to join this conversation today, because this is very critical. This topic has, it has drowned, I can say, a quarter or 1/3 or 1/5 or even just thousands of our people from the continent that are traveling out of Africa. If they don't die by sea, they're going to be drowning in some kind of, terrible conditions. And most of them are women and children. Now, we've been hearing a couple of these things going on for years. And let us not dream for any second that Europe or the West is going to put an end to this. No way. It is never going to happen. It would never happen. So it is time for us Africans to take responsibility on the things that are engaging our people and our continent. So we want to hear the feedback of these two gentlemen sitting here. What is it that they think that you, Honorable Kapamba, who is aspiring to be a political future leader of your country, Zambia, what is it that you think that you can change? How are you going to address the political stability of your land? How are you going to make sure that your generation is totally equipped, that they know their history, they have an education enough not to relocate to look for something else? But of course, we also know traveling is a human right. Who has the authority to somebody not from traveling? I'm sitting here in Germany for the past 22 years. Yes, I also relocated from my land to where I'm sitting now. It is a human right for any creature on the planet. Talk less about birds. Birds just fly. They don't have boundaries. They don't need passports. They don't need any checkpoint or control or whatever. And so they fly from countries to countries, and with nobody controlling those borders. Now, this is the air traffic. Planes that fly from one land to the other, land where they want to land. Bullets are flying in the air. There's no restriction to that. Now, when it comes to human lives, and what kind of human lives? African human lives, that's what we're talking about today. So I want to welcome all of you and thank you for joining this show. And thank also my guests for taking out this special time for us to talk about this topic today, which is actually one of the biggest challenges that we are going to face in the next decade. How are we going to advise our people, how they can travel? It is not about telling them not to travel. This is not what we're going to be talking about today. We're not going to be asking Africans not to travel out of Africa. It is their basic right to travel. It is their human right to feel free to explore opportunities in the world. Who says no? Because, of course, the West has always been traveling to Africa. Asia has always been traveling to Africa. The North, every planet on Earth, they travel. Why? Why not Africans? Yes. So the point today is not talking about Africans not traveling. No, they have the right to travel wherever they want. Our focus today is how do they travel? How are we going to assist them to give them the right passage to travel out of their land, out of the continent, to exploit other opportunities, just like the others would do. So we are not talking about the young people not leaving the continent today. Of course, yes, it is our need that we all, know our continent, discover our continent, use the opportunities that are located to us. Because some of this traveling is just a wild dreams, they're just illusions. They don't even know where they're even traveling. They don't even know where they're going to, right? And we all did that. We all took that adventures. Do you think that a white businessman that is going to Africa for the first time, or investor, knows actually where he's going to? Do you think he's not aware of the risk of what is awaiting him out there? So sometimes we redirect the conversations like, oh, they just go, they don't even know where they're going to, they don't know what is awaiting them. Why not? No single person, particularly the invaders on our continent of Africa, ever sat down and realized and thought, why am I even going to Africa? What do they see? They see the opportunities out there. They see business opportunities. They see mining. They see gold. They see diamond. So why should an African child not also have the same dreams when they see skyscrapers, they see opportunities, they see, tourist opportunities? Why should they not take that advantage? So the problem is, how do we assist them to travel? I think we're all settled. We're all on board, and let us go. I want to welcome my guest today. Hello, I start with the guy on the continent, Oliver. Oliver, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Dr. Susan. How are you doing there in Germany?
As you can see, Germany, it's a problem. It's still a problem because we're still in total lockdown out here. I mean, the issue with the pandemic is not actually favorable in terms of policies, in terms of, putting in place regulations that actually would be suitable. And then we are now also in the situation of the vaccines. Not every vaccine is available. There's still a lot of challenges, and I think Germany is still going to take some time to be able to achieve a normal lifestyle like it used to be. And I think it's not also different out there. How does the situation look out there, particularly in Zambia, your country?
Of course, we had a bad wave of the infections, but I think we are almost going towards not really normal life. We still have cases being reported, deaths have reduced, and of course, the number of admissions, admitted cases have also reduced. So I'm sure we are better than we were, I think, 3-4 months ago. And of course, the vaccine was landed in the country. And of course, people are getting the frontline workers, like health workers, and the aged are getting the vaccines. So I think COVID-wise, we are not very bad. We are okay.
All right. I mean, Honorable, talking about that, because you are not just a political aspirant or an advocate, or you are not only a young team member or a country leader of the PL Olumumba Foundation, but you're also in the medical sector, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, it's my profession, and I particularly work from the COVID center. So from my hospital point of view, and of course following the statistics, the national statistics from the Ministry of Health, I think we are better than we were 2, 3, 4 months ago, because I'm sure even the number of infections in 24 hours have reduced to a single digit compared to the previous month. Yeah, where we used to have even above 100 infections in 24 hours. And of course, we used to record deaths in 2 digits, sometimes hundreds. But I think we passed without even recording a death in the country, according to the statistics of the Ministry of Health. And of course, from where we're working from, our COVID department center has been partially closed because we have no patients here.
Oh, that is good news.
Good.
Exactly. All right.
But of course, the restrictions are still, people are still observing the regulations set by the Ministry of Health, social distancing, sanitizing of the hands, masking up, and many other regulations put across by the Ministry of Health. So people are still aware. People have not dropped the guard. They are still watching out.
This is good news. And but what is this daily activity situation? You're not just in that kind of a lockdown. I mean, it means business as usual. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly. Business as usual. All the shops are opening. All the schools have resumed their normal calendar, and colleges, universities, and I think the normal life has returned compared to a few months back.
Mm.
People are traveling freely. Of course, when those who are traveling outside the country, they are subjected to a COVID test. They are given some kind of a test certificate. And of course, those who are coming into the country, they're also subjected to a COVID test.
Wow.
So basically, that we have put across.
This is good news. I mean, starting at the beginning of this week, where we are having a lot of disturbing news, particularly in the Central West Africa, where we are getting a lot of information about the uprisings in Chad, and we're beginning to get a lot worried. You know, if the situation is stabilizing in the east of Africa and other parts of Africa, and then suddenly we begin to hear about uprisings and you know, and people demonstrating in war, and we always know the invincible hand that is always trying, you know, to spark up something. Now, we are on the topic of immigration and this migrants. If you look at the situation in Chad, would you say this is one of the reasons why we are expecting to see more Africans get out, leave the continent?
Exactly so. Dr. Susan, allow me to express my gratitude. I didn't express my gratitude for being on this show, to the Pan-African Day TV team, and of course to you for according us these opportunities to just air our views. Yeah, so getting back to your question, actually, yes, civil unrest, which of course results into wars and refugees running from their countries, seeking for safety in other countries, and so forth. These are some of the issues that that cause many young Africans to seek safety, not only across the sea into Europe, but across Africa. We have so many here in Zambia. We have refugee camps, just like in other countries like Malawi. They have refugee camps of families, not only young people, all age groups who have run from Burundi, who have run from Rwanda. They seek safety in other countries. So, answering your question, yes, civil unrest, political unrest, is one of the causes. One of the causes that has induced these illegal migration into Europe. So we cannot take away that.
The person that is speaking, you pick him. All right. Thank you very much for that feedback. It is very, that's also still going to be another topic for another day. Today, we want to talk about how we could avoid this kind of, I mean, 2 weeks ago, we heard from the United Nations for Human Rights Commission for Refugees announced 41 dead, yes, at sea, you know, crossing through the Libya, leaving Tunisia into Europe. And for the past 3 years, we've had 18,000 reported. And these are just statistics that we're knowing. But from 2010, when we saw the migration wave and immigrants, and we heard about the terrible deaths that were lost at sea, particularly in Lampedusa, is something that we will never forget, right? But now it is just opening up with the pandemic, with the COVID. And today we're seeing, you know, we're still hearing in the 21st century that 41 Africans died at sea. Now, we want to talk about the reason and how we can assist our people, right, to cross over, of course, when they're having all this, not only on the continent, but how do we assure that they could transit in a safety condition using legal means of transportation or travels. Now I'm getting back to studio and talking to Evidence. Mr. Evidence is a guest from Nigeria. He's going to share his experience with us on that. Hello, welcome, Mr. Evidence.
Thank you, Doctor. I am honored to be on your show. It's a great privilege. So I want to thank you. And also, I want to use the opportunity to, how do you say it, reciprocate the invitation. So during this summer, just know that if you are free with, even if it's 2 days, you are also invited, though I don't do live show, but you are invited for barbecue. You can come with the family. You don't need flights, so you don't need anything relating to. So let's go back to the question. So I will be brief. So I understand you are more interested in how do we assist our African brothers and sisters to avoid them from dying. So I will use the keyword dying because when somebody dies, is no more. So
Yes.
it is very important we avoid the death. So to be honest with you, I'm working on a project. I can give you many reasons how we can assist them. I'll give you a few lists, but within those reasons or the way we can assist them is also good. I can just briefly brush the cause that resulted to their death. So one of the solution or the way we can assist them, personally, I want to start up a company, and I would also discuss that with you offline. And if everything goes well according to my plan, your program will also benefit 5% from the proceeds to support you, because this is the first place I have actually shared the idea on live station on the internet. It has been something I'm working on. So I can assist with a company because also the reason for their deaths, companies also are involved. But that is, so I will connect everything so that I don't confuse our viewers. So personally, I have looked into this issue back in 2010. And I've sat down and said, how can I help? I don't need to wait for the next person. So for me, I'm proactive. I like to be creative, during my free time. So I said, how can I help my African brothers and sisters? Trust me, before now, I've helped like on individual basis. I've helped a lot of Africans all over the world. It doesn't mean they have to be from my country. I can remember there was a time I actually helped an African young lady because we missed our flight. This is not through the Mediterranean, but this is also through flight. So I actually helped her in some way because she was pregnant. I didn't even know she was pregnant. But at the end of the day, she was able to deliver a baby. Almost all her problem was solved. So what I'm trying to say was I met her during a traveling experience of mine. Also, I've helped other Africans who come to Europe legitimately, okay, so that they don't have to die or go through that barbaric way, which have a lot of bad experience. So on my own, I've helped a lot individually in my course of my life. But now I want to make it very big, like globally, like the entire Africans. I can. It's not like I have to wait for somebody else. So I have to do something. So I'll do it with a company legitimately, and I can guarantee if it goes live, it will reduce Africans who are traveling to 0%, or probably those who still embark on it just want to die. Okay, if they understand that there is an alternative, why they wouldn't have to die. But sharing the details of the company, how it's set up, how it's going to help on Africa is a long story. So that can be discussed offline. Then secondly, when we talk about the company in a nutshell, right now, if an African wants to travel, there is a chance that that African has to pay certain amount. Okay, so there's something also which is close to the company, which I'm saying, which is something also different. these Africans can do what they call crowd investment. So if you want to travel with this dangerous route, look for other Africa, let them have, because internet solves a lot of problems. Let them have option whereby another African who wants to also take that risk, they put that money together and they invest it. Together they can invest that money, because from the flyer you sent me, I am not too into the statistic of the how much they pay or whatsoever, but I know they pay certain amount of money, because nobody is carrying them to their debt for free. So at the end of the day, they all can go put the money together, start up a business in their location, no matter how small. If 5 people come together, it's look at it like a local way of shares of buying a company. They can start a company on their own, no matter how small, little production, even if it's agriculture, anything, but they know it's a company, they put their money together. Imagine 41 person died. That 41 person, even if it's 10 euro or 20 euros they put together. I know in Africa, if you have certain amount of money, even if it's 5,000 euro, 1,000 euro, you can use it to start a business, either to buy or produce or resell. So they should have this idea. People who have the experience should start to speak up to be able to assist them in their lack of knowledge. Because at the end of the day, if they actually put that money together, they can be able to feed their family. They might not be rich, but they will be safe, and they will have a business, and they will have African relationship among themselves. So that is one. Re-education and sensitization of the African is also part of what I'm saying. And even the leadership of Africans, they need to be re-educated. Africa need to have leadership institute, leadership education. You want to be governor, you want to be president, you still need education, so that the education can let you know that while you are going to that position, it is not about yourself, it is not about profit, it's not a business, it's more or less like a selfless service. So if you are not interested, please leave, let somebody else, because we have a lot of population. So the African leaders need to go to a leadership institute by Africans, in Africans, for Africans. Forget whatsoever degree you have, because that institute will be a tailor-made education for leadership. You will see you have to take a test, you have to go through a lot of templates or a lot of educational formats. So that also can help. And review of international relationship. So what does this mean? International relationship is a big problem. So what is the review of international relationship? We are independent. I doubt if there's any African country that is still not independent. So we have to review what we mean by independent, because international relationship or international policy simply means, because I am an African, I cannot travel, but European can go to 140 something country because of his passport. One of my biggest challenge as an African was just my passport, not my education. Because even your passport is an insult to your human rights. When you leave Africa, you know it's an insult. Even an African can insult you because of your passport. So this is an international relationship. What is a passport? It's a document for traveling. Africans who are still paying this money, like I said earlier, can be able to actually travel legitimately. But the international relationship was the one leading them to their death, because you have made it so difficult. You have dehumanized them. You have made them to lose their human rights. So that alone can take out millions of Africans, because the leadership of Africa, due to the process of leadership education, can understand that the first thing you need to do as an African country is go to your relationship, because we are independent. They are independent. No country is independent in this world. Everybody needs each other. So you make it a compulsory that it's a policy of my government that you need to accept my people, and I need to accept your people under terrorism terms, which is tourism, not terrorism, sorry. So an African can go to any country, but if the African will maintain the duration of time. So this money they are still spending to lead to their death can actually put them on a flight, walk into any country, get education of the, get idea of the country, or at the same time, maybe it will provide opportunity like tourism, and they will go back to their country. Some African, if they have this opportunity, if they visit certain country during the winter, they will never come back, because during that tourism period, they will discover that that country is not place that they will go. But they don't know this. So they don't know this. So they are already leading to their death because they don't know. So that is one point. Let me not waste too much time on that. And African content creation, medias. What you are doing now is a very good thing. It's like enlightening Africans. So more Africans should bring more education that require traveling for Africa to really tell them how the country is, where they are going. So African channels should spend at least 5% of their time or 10% to educate their people regarding traveling, geographical education. If you go to this country, this is how this, let there be real life education of this country in the media. So I wouldn't want to spend too much time on this point, but I believe if these things can be considered and every African understand the point I'm trying to make, it can reduce the number of deaths. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evidence. I mean, these are the normals of what you're saying. Everything you're saying, if everything was just good like this, we wouldn't even be sitting here to talk about that. But we're talking about a system where these normals, they won't give them passports because they're Africans. Now, I know a lot of Africans that have spent chunks of money for years in their passport. We also know the ones that even understand and they have even the money. It's not even about, you know, your status quo. They have the money to travel. They will not be granted passport and accessibility to travel. You know, it is a kind of a marginalization and a malicious system that is actually put in place to stop the African from traveling. So they did, like you said, they dehumanize your passport. So your passport is just nothing. When you're traveling, all of us, we know, you have a category of passport where people just go in without control or whatever. Even if they're carrying guns and bullets or all type of toxics, you're not going to, particularly when they even have access to a continent. The kind of checks that they give to them is not their problem. It is our problem as Africans. We're not saying that they do it strategically to stop you from coming to their country. But when it comes to our own, we are so generous. You know, just like they say, an African is hospitable. They are nice, friendly, happy, welcoming people. But most of the time we forget that, is this really a relationship that is also reciprocated? I will go back to Oliver, to Honorable Kapamba. You are aspiring in this kind of a leadership that we're saying, taking responsibility, you know, for the model that you want to see in Africa. And you just heard Mr. Evidence say one of the requirements should be that the governments, because there are these leaderships that are not taking control of their people, that are fleeing the continent, you know. So, but he's saying one of the requirements should even be an institute for leadership for all types of leaders that will be leading the continent. What do you think about that?
That's a great move. It's an intervention to having leaders who are, like currently, Africa has a crop of leaders who do not even understand the leadership concept or leadership ideologies that can work now to the current problems that we are facing as Africans. It is more like we have leaders who have lived from the time of the post-independence era. Okay, Africa had a different trajectory altogether. After the post-independence freedom fighters. I think later on, the leaders that we started having in our African countries, I think they had shifted. They had not on the journey of the freedom fighters, the Julius Nyerere of Africa, the Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, and many other renowned freedom fighters. They had a vision for Africa. So coming to the current leaders we have now, I think there are few we can point to and say they are taking the country in the right direction. And this is because of the lack of leadership skills that I'm talking about. Because the global community has changed. We are now talking about the technological era in which we are. How prepared are we? How are our countries technologically prepared are they in the area of agriculture, in the area of education, in the area of industry? How prepared are we? Are we able to meet the demands of the technology at this time around? So we need leaders who are upgraded in those areas. And this takes me back to the demography of Africa in the 1970s, in the independence era. I think Africa had many countries in Africa, or Africa altogether. We were, I think, in 300 million in population. Now, this time around, we're talking about 1.3 billion Africans in population. But how prepared have we been as Africa to meet the demand of this population of Africa? And I think this is one of the reasons why we are a lot of young people migrating to Europe and to other continents. It's because there are no opportunities that meet the demand of the population of Africa. So we need leaders who can think in those lines, who can meet the needs of the demand of the population of this continent with the social and economic amenities, social and economic activities that can accommodate all the young people who have the energy. Because Africa, of course, is the youngest continent in the sense that over, I think, close to 65 or 70% of the population
is young. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think he's having some technical issues out there. His network is freezing a little bit. I would urge us to take a look at this video. We also have leaders that have recognized this issue of the young brains leaving the continent. Like I said, we know why they leave, but we don't want to focus on why they leave. We want to focus today on it is their right to leave. Even if there were opportunities, right? They would leave. But the idea of an African using another means to leave should be what we're focusing on. What is it that we should do to stop this debt? When we talk about leadership, we talk about the need for good governance, job creation, and that. Yes, taking everything is normal. We take into consideration everything is normal, but you still have that African that has the need to travel, but would not have access to passport, would not have access to possibility. Most of them apply online jobs, right? Like I said, if it is a European or Westerner going to Africa, they would not say he's going to look for a job. They would say they are expatriates, they are experts, they are professionals, they are business people. You know, they always have another kind of terminology. They don't tell you they're looking for jobs, of course, but they are workers. The continent is creating job for them, or their countries is creating job for them on the continent. And so it's a job, right? Now, but when it comes to Africans crossing, they're going to be illegal first. They're going to be refugees. They're going to be asylum seekers. They're going to be fleeing from something. They're always fleeing from something. It's another kind of a conversation or a narrative. But these ones, no, they're not fleeing because they lack jobs. They're not fleeing because, okay, they're on retirement and they want to look for other opportunities on the continent. Now, we have to get it straight. It is a need and it is an interest of any person on the planet to travel. Now, there are travel regulations, there are travel conditions, there are travel means. And this is what we want to focus on. What would it take us to convince an African not to travel by sea on these balloons that we're seeing? They're not even boats, they are balloons. What would it take us to convince an African not to travel using this way, but to travel through another means of safety? Let us take a look at this video while we're preparing to get Oliver or set up his technical challenges, or we get back to evidence in a short while. But let's take a look.
Now I look at Africa, many questions come to mind. Many times I ask myself, what would happen if Mwalimu were to rise up and see what is happening? Many times I ask myself, what would happen if Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Emery Lumumba were to rise up and see what is happening? Because what they would be confronted with is an Africa whose young men and women have no interest and no love for their continent. They would be confronted with an Africa where young men and young women are constantly humiliated at the embassies of European countries and at the United States of America as they seek the almighty green card. They would be confronted with an Africa where young men and women from Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Mali, and Mauritania drown in the Mediterranean as they seek to be enslaved in Europe. This time round, Africans are not wailing and kicking as they are being taken away to be enslaved. They are being seen wailing and kicking as they seek to be enslaved in Europe and America. This is the tragedy of Africa.
Excellencies, I'm certain that all of us gathered at this event have become accustomed to news headlines such as at least 43 African migrants drown off Libya, UN agencies say. African migrants drown as boat sails to Spain. At least 140 migrants drown off Senegal coast, UN says. For those of us who come from a continent that is in possession of some 30% of the Earth's remaining mineral resources and some 50% of the world's arable lands, it is disheartening to acknowledge that African youth do not see a future in their respective countries and are willing to cross the Sahara Desert on foot and drown in the Mediterranean Sea in a desperate bid to reach the mirage of a better life in Europe. It is eloquent testimony to the inability of the current structures of African economies, producing and exporting raw materials, importing manufactured goods and services from Europe and elsewhere, to generate the numbers of decent, well-paying jobs that Africa's youth crave. But fortunately, there's now a consensus amongst the current crop of African leaders of the urgent need to remedy the situation and relate with the rest of the world on the base of trade and investment cooperation in value-added activities. As President of the Republic of Ghana, I believe the time has come for Africa, Spain, and indeed the rest of Europe to establish a sustainable strategic partnership based on trade and investment cooperation on the exchange of value-added transactions. It would obviate the resort to aid which has not achieved its purpose. Hence the mantra of Ghana Beyond Aid, which is the overarching goal of Ghanaian public policy. Indeed, a very important plank of this new strategic partnership between Africa, Spain, and Europe would be the strong support for the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, which began trading on 1st January. The AFCFTA will link all the 54 markets of Africa, covering 1.3 billion people, into a single market. It is the world's largest free trade area outside of the World Trade Organization itself. By 2050, it will cover an estimated 2.5 billion people and have over a quarter of the world's working age population.
This is the special opportunity God has given us. We are supposed to move together. We are supposed to consider the best issue of economic developments. We have no brothers. We have no fathers. We are supposed to move as Africans. Africa should move on their own. They are supposed to change the directions. We are supposed to focus according to our directions, according to our environments. That is the only way we can help our people. Nobody should come and say that he's there to solve the problems of our people. We are the one, we leaders, we are supposed to change the directions as far as economic is concerned for our people. And the only solution is to move together by considering God is the one and the powerful to direct us in every direction.
Okay, I'm just going through some of the comments, and I see Africans actually articulating powerful, yes, powerful comments in the chat, and I really appreciate you for respecting these community standards of communication and chatting. It's very okay. Now, we listened to Professor P.L. Lumumba, and he is straight on the communication. Everything is straight. He said, what would happen if our predecessors, our ancestors would rise up to see what is happening to its population today? What would happen? That is a call to us. He was not talking to the leadership because he knew that this leadership that we're talking about, they speak, they dress well, they use catalog speeches. But we know this woman crossing and dying, this 41 souls, I mean, just had to leave, just had to look for a survival. They don't care. As a matter of fact, they can talk about strategic partnership on trade and investment beyond aid and whatever. The common man on the street in Africa doesn't understand that. They don't even hear it. They don't even know it. These are the ones that we're talking about. It is our responsibility. Let us shun over this and ask ourselves, what is it that we as individuals can do? How can we save our own life? You that are watching me from the continent, you that are watching our listeners and our viewers here, what is it that you are just thinking at that corner to travel on the next boat that will be leaving Libya tonight? Think about it twice. How can we help you? How can we reach out to you? How can we just convince you for a moment that that amount of money that you're putting in there, you're not sure to get over to Europe? I know it is crazy. I know it sounds like, you know, another, like a rocket science, like us telling Africa now that, you know, you're going to get jobs tomorrow. It's a whole lie. We keep lying to our people. We keep telling them the same stories for decades. They don't have any nerves again to believe us. No patience. The African wants to just leave because they're tired of your good speeches. They're tired of all this reading the text and telling things that would never function. Now, let's go by the strategy of Professor P.L. Lumumba. What is it that we can do? I want to get back to you, Evidence, because I see Honorable is really facing some challenges out there with his connection. Probably we should do a short refresh and get him back. Just 1 second. Let us refresh, please. Good. So we are good to go. I think he should be connecting back to us now, but I'll get back a little bit on Evidence. Evidence, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Now, you watch the speeches of this. Do you think Africans really, I mean, particularly from the Excellency, the President of Ghana, that's another sector where we're talking about the Africa Free Trade Continental Area, why we should build new partnership with Europe. I mean, that's another topic on its own. We're going to treat that topic. But today, I just want to tell you, if you think that Africans can listen to these speeches and then make a decision not to climb on that boat,
Actually, depend on depend on communication. So, for example, some Africans prefer to go on social media to watch maybe comedies. But if an African in particular want to take this journey, I depend on the kind of people he surround himself with, you know, because some people surround themselves with people who don't have too much information. And there are cases that some of them already have this informations or these videos, they have seen it online on Facebook, YouTube. But the issue is that regarding if after still seeing such video and still embark on it, the issue is about the mentality. So our mentality as an Africans is that we are individual warriors. We believe that we have to do things on our own. We have not been able to trust each other mentally. So for example, let's mirror it to non-Africans, or let's speak a non-African country, for example. The first thing they do is called foundation. They spend so much money on their people to educate them, to make sure all of them have same mentality. So for example, when there is in news of one person, this thing happened, or the government say don't go to this place, you will see that none of their person will go to that location. The news will just fly around. But we Africans are
just hold on there. How did you travel? You came for studies anyway, but wouldn't you have had an opportunity to study on the continent? Why did you say I want to study abroad? Was it enough for anybody to convince you to stay on the continent?
Thank you very much for that question. The reason why I traveled is not because I wanted to travel. Okay, I didn't even know I'm going to travel. So let's just say it was like an offer, you know, it was like something that was paid for. So at the end of the day, I was like, okay, fine, let me give it a try. So I gave it a try, and in the beginning it was challenging. But the beautiful part about it was that it gave me the opportunity to benefit the things I was missing in Africa. And that is two things. One, which is called information. Some people will call it education. In Africa, we lack real-time information. We don't take it serious. But when I came to Europe, I was able to get real-time information. So the only challenge in that particular case is I went to a non-speaking English country. That is when I actually realized I was an African, I was Black. So it's only, like I said, we are individual warrior, we are individual champion. There's something in us that we always want to do something without paying attention to the other person. I have such spirit as an African, but when I came to civilization, the way I was treated, I felt alone. That is why I realized that I had people, which are my African people. But an African in Africa will never know he or she have people, except when they come to civilization, and civilization try to neutralize them. So the civilization that we are talking about, for example, if you want to compare it with Africa, civilization is a state of mind. You can call it a country, you can call it a people, but it's a state of mind. So let me explain. If you are African, even these people who are risking their life to come to civilization, the first thing that will happen to them is to neutralize them. So you're coming as an African, you don't even know you're an African, you don't know you have certain mentality, then they start to neutralize you. That is when you now understand the concept of colonization, because then you start experiencing some changes, you start taking note, because it's like school, it's like education. Then you start to feel and miss the Africa that you are running from. So that neutralization is trying to change your state of mind to become a civilized human being. And while they are doing this, at the end of the day, you will discover that if you cannot pass it or you don't follow those neutralization templates, they will send you back. For you to survive, you have to have the same state of mind like them, which some people call education. So if you go to civilization now, you cannot see, you'll be surprised that somebody who was in Africa, the way he was behaving has changed, because that person has been neutralized. So you are coming late, you are not born there. So this is what I mean. So Africans don't have a foundation of depending on individuals mentally or listening to each other. We are very self-reserved. We want to do what we want to do at the end of the day. But to also, sorry?
No, finish it. I'm coming back to you.
To also solve that problem, I think to really solve that problem, because right now we have what they call a relationship with our colonizer. It's very strong relationship. So that relationship will continue to last. But what we can do is to be able to provide a lot of resources for our people. But that resources, the colonizer also need it. So at the end of the day, who will be the person to hold on to that resources? So for example, all Africa agree, like, we are not going to sell water, for example, the whole entire Africa. So we are not going to sell water, even if we have too much of water. Our people need it. What the colonizers simply need, because now we say we are independent, what the colonizers simply need is just one African, just one, who disagree, either because of his belief, his religion, or how the person feel as a human being. Okay, he will say, no, that kind of thing is not good. We have to give, we don't even need to sell it. We have to give this water away. We have too much. So at the end of the day, the colonizer will identify that particular person and do what they call sponsorship. So is that the only reason why an African country ever fought each other or fought civil war? Is not because colonizer came to Africa, no. If you watch Black Panther, for example, you will discover in the beginning it started with a short story whereby 5 tribes were fighting, and at the end of the day, they came to an agreement, and one left and went to the mountain. It has been in our DNA. We are people who just disagree, but we don't know the importance of that disagreement. For the colonizer, is the greatest advantage they ever found in our DNA. So what we need to do as humans now is to recode our DNA and say, okay, our weakness, our nature as human beings is something people are using as an advantage against us. So for example, like I said earlier, if certain countries say their people should not go in a particular place, you will never see one who will go. But if Africans say don't go here, that is where some people even want to go, because they just want to prove to you that who are you to tell them not to go. So this is what I mean by the individual warrior spirit we have. It has been there even before the colonizer came. So they always saw an advantage. Some people will call it business opportunity. So now we need to understand that that advantage is to our own, that DNA, that nature is to our own detriment. And we have to start to, because even you as an African, when you go to civilization, they will neutralize you, no matter how strong you are. So what is the neutralization? They will have to change you to fit into their society, which is a process of integration, whatsoever you call it. Whether you are educated, whether you are educated or you are not educated, they will definitely neutralize you. So in that process, you will be shocked. Like, you African who said you were stubborn before, now you have met your match. So we have to start to do it in our own way, but we have to do it with love. Because I personally also believe that there are two kinds of African: the pure African and the impure African. So the pure African is the person who, no matter what you do, or the person will never commit evil, never. It's not because of religion or whatever, it's just in his nature not to do it. But some African, they derive pleasure in it, which is also the Europeans have saw in us. Okay, if you go to Europeans or you go to civilized, you will still see some things you notice about them. You know, people have nature, how their DNA are coded. So the impure African is, so I give you an example. As an African, you have 2 children in front of you, and you are a parent, and you have only one antidote. And if those 2 children want to die, and they say now you have one antidote to save one of these children, one is yours, one is not yours, it's 100% possible that the unpure African will give that antidote to his child, because he will feel this is my, so this is the mental, these are the majority of African we have who have aspired to position of leadership. They don't even know the meaning of being pure. You don't need it. You don't need that money. You don't need that thing. You see somebody on the street, you feel it. You feel people's pain. But there are some Africans are like that. They don't. So what we need to do is the good ones now need to have certain powers to be able to cage the bad ones, which is also the secret of civilization. So in civilization, for example, if you commit a crime, even if you are the president, your fellow people, your fellow non-African in that civilization, they will cage you. Except you run to anywhere in the planet, they will tell where you run to and say, that our person is in, he needs to fit. So that is like a law. It's like they are not above the law among themselves. So they will say, we need to judge if that person is guilty or not. If the person is guilty, they will cage him. And the person is like them. Why they are doing it is that they want to progress. So the good ones have the power to judge the bad ones. But in Africa, it's not possible yet. We are struggling with that. Also with the influence of colonizer. So until we can be able to cage the bad Africans, we will have a lot of issues, because those ones, they are everywhere. You understand? They are everywhere. And the things that we do will shock you. It will surprise you. So this is also something Africa needs to know. You understand? So it's not because somebody is black like me or come from your tribe or your brother or your sister means the person is good. The person needs rehabilitation. If the person cannot get that rehabilitation, the person have to be put away, because that person is a danger to him or herself and a danger to society. So that is all I can say about that.
All right. Thank you very much for that perspective. There's some points that actually you noted out there that I think it's relevant for us to talk about, but I want to go into it like it's an intriguing stuff, the issue of civilization and stuff. You articulated it and you pushed it forward in a way that is very clear to understand. If we want to go deeper into it, you would see where did that civilization came from and what does an Africa see as civilization? Is civilization the skyscrapers, the good infrastructure? Of course, that is development, structural development, but in terms of civilization as the need and the understanding how to live and function with humans, I don't think any race owns that right more than an African. An African is the first and the civilized one that we see who manages and can live with other race and other cultures, giving the respect and perspective of who they are. That is the first thing. But like I said, from the way you explain it, it was very understandable from that point of view, in terms of that, which is absolutely correct. And the other thing was education, the need for education. Now, if you look at the African, I would go back to Oliver. Thank you, you're joining. And I'm happy. I'm sorry for whatever challenges you had out there. But I just want to stick with evidence for a little bit. Keep it really short. Education is one of the biggest problems that we have. Do you agree? Miseducation, that's what I mean.
You mean, is that my question?
It is a question at the same time.
Okay.
Do you agree to the fact that, because you talked about a DNA that is coded in us, if we were left on our own, we will not be talking about this history here. We're talking about a system, like you say, they change you. They change you when you come to Europe into their system. But do you agree the fact that they even change you before you left? The religion, through even the language you speak, through even the education they get to you, that your own continent is not good enough. The education that you have is not good enough. You have to get it somewhere else. Do you agree?
Yes, you are very right. Talking about changing somebody in Africa, I'll quickly say that as make some point on that. Talking about civilization, Africans being the first people to be civilized, I'll make some point on that. So regarding being change already in Africa, it's called colonization. But currently we bear the badge of what they call independence. So if you see Africa got independent, the people who gave African independence were Africans in diaspora. It wasn't an African who was sleeping in his bed in Africa and saw this thing from vision from God. No, this list of men who gave African independence are the ones who actually were in diaspora, like immigrants. You are saying that is where they got the vision and understand everything that was going on. Saying when they go back home, they will not agree. So that is also in line with my next project that I'm working on for Nigeria, Homework Nigeria. So it's just brief. The Nigerians in diasporas are the only people who can solve Nigerian problem, which is my country today. So I'm working heavily on that, and it's going to go live soon. So now let's go back to civilization. Civilization was actually an African thing. But like I told you, we have two kinds of African. And during the time of civilization of Africa, the pure Black Africans were ruling the world. Like not only Africa, the entire world. But their responsibility was to keep what they call the forbidden knowledge. So that forbidden knowledge was like, an African can be judged if you are guilty or wrong. And Africa is not greater than an African. It also has to do with technology we are using today. This technology we are using today is an African language, but some people don't know. So when you say African is being changed, the African has been colonized. It has been changed in Africa. So that African, that Africa that was changed in Africa is a language. So colonization is a language, is a sound. Civilization have tribes. So when I was colonized in Africa, Nigeria, before I came to civilization, the people who colonized me in Africa, what we call direct colonization, means they were not presently there, but they used other Africans like me, which supposed to resist such education to be given to me. But they didn't change it. They claim we had independence. Then, within a short period of time, very short period of time, Africans start shooting God, killing themselves. Some said they are military. Why is all these things so the influence of colonization can only be possible and extend as far to a lot of Africans if the body of that African is not pure. That is carried is like an agent. So if you are an agent of like coronavirus, now distance, protect yourself, you have to carry it, you have to transport it. So a lot of our bodies as Africans are agents of colonization, because some of us, we avoid it and say, I cannot teach my fellow Black person a bad thing. Though I have no choice, but I will explain the truth to them. You understand? But this is the thing, because, for example, if Africa want to wipe out colonization from Africa, there are some still Africa who will resist it because they believe that is their source of income. They don't have another mentality that it is possible to wipe it away. They will resist. So before you finish to fight with them, you are exhausted. Before you not even face the colonizer. So this is the point I was saying. And also civilization was African thing, but then the good African was ruling. But now it is very rare for a good African to rule his people, because the thing that will happen to that person might be unexpected, because he doesn't have people to protect him or her. He's just alone. So it's really complicated.
Thank you so much, Evidence. I mean, you broke it down in a very, you didn't even need to call a spade, but all of us are here. And even those watching from the continent, they understand what you're clearly saying. And we're very, very grateful for that insight and that perspective. I want to go back to Honorable Kapamba. Is he there? Oh, we just lost him again. Wow. I wanted us to talk about this idea of the new partnership beyond aid. I mean, like I said, that's a big topic. That's another topic that we'll deal with it. But now that we still have you here, Evidence, I would like to open some lines, because this is a very sensitive topic. A lot of people are hurt, even those watching us from the continent. It is not only about how these people are dealt, right? and manipulated by these bad Africans, because that's the language that you're teaching us today. And whether we like it or not, we would have to accept that not all of us, not every African is working in the interest of an African like a European would do. We've been asking this question. It is difficult. I still want to see a German that would favor me as an African in Germany, as in regard to his own. It is not done. It is not done. He puts himself and his people and his country and his race first. Numbs. Why do we neutralize, like you're saying? Now, it is the same African that lets his brothers take a lot of money and put women and children on this deadly track. He knows very well that most of them will not make it. But it is the kind of aid like, oh, yes, most of them are desperate. I need the money. So it's a kind of a business thing. But of course, this ignorance of helping. I'm just helping my brother. Let them go and help themselves without actually putting into consideration risk. But a European or a Westerner will look at the risk first and say no. And when an African tells an African no, it means, oh, you didn't want to help. You didn't want to help him. Oh, now you're in Europe. Now you're telling me not to come because you're enjoying. You don't want me to enjoy. When is it that we would learn? And I think that's exactly the point you were making, to say we don't even listen to ourselves. We are the self-individual that even you sitting here, it is difficult for you to even advise your young person or your fellow African or your family member to say, it is dangerous. Just give me some time. Yes, I made it. It might be lucky, but I'm not sure you can make it. It is a challenge. It is the big fight for Africans in the diaspora to change the mindset of their brothers and sisters, even when they want to help them in good faith. The African on the continent think, oh, you just don't want me to have the opportunities you're having. How do we solve this kind of a cancer? How do we solve this kind of a pandemic? It hurts and kills the African in the diaspora to see its people draining. It hurts some of even those on the continent that know the reality. It's some of the Africans that are here that are just wishing to be where you are, but they could not make a change. Like a pregnancy, it's there, the baby has to come out. You will never go back. Like that, you're already on the other side. You can't come back to tell your people, you know what, please just wait. Let me come. Let me tell you the truth. How are we going to solve this? It is not possible, we know, but we can try. What is your contribution? What is your opinion? I'm picking up this first call. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Emmanuel from Tanzania.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you for calling from Tanzania. I see it's like you're having rains out there. What is your contribution?
My contribution is upon the point that the biggest problem many Africans, they migrated to another countries, like Western countries. They think that there is a good life compared to Africa. And this is come up when they see their life in Africa is so bad, and this is contributed to the condition of our leaders, which are so corrupted. They so protect the investors from Western countries, like I can say the Chinese.
Okay.
When the Chinese in our countries, they are so protected compared to the native Africa. That's make us believe in that maybe if we can go other countries, we can have a better life than this place.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution. That's very true. Yeah, foreigners are protected on their on your continent more than even the the citizens. That is the more reason Africans think we don't have a chance here. It's even better to go to a country where it is not mine and I labor there. It doesn't matter whether I'm a slave, but it's still better. I better die at sea. What is your contribution? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes, you're live.
Yes, I'm calling you from the Caribbean island of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Brett Williams. I can see you. How are you doing today?
Okay.
Thanks for your
I'm
call.
doing great. I'm listening to the program right now. However, I just want to say that I appreciate evidence. But what I wanted to say, I tried to call you on, I think it was Tuesday, when you had freedom.
Yes.
And I tried to get in, but I couldn't. However, I just want to piggyback on that. I just want to say how my head was swelling when I listened to Freedom.
Yes.
And I saw you was taking it in. You was taking it in, and so was I. But I tried to get in, I couldn't. So I just want to let you know that I'm so happy for Freedom and Osman Toure.
Yes.
And now listening to you guys with evidence, I'm just overwhelmed with the change. It's really saddening to see what is happening with those 41 people who lost at sea. But we have to educate our people to let them know the danger.
Correct.
What is happening? They want us to leave the continent so that they can get in.
True.
This is my opinion, because they know what they have their eyes on. So we need to educate the youth there to let them know they have to stay within the continent and build the Africa that we need.
Absolute.
Okay?
Correct. 100%.
Right,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for your contribution. Yes, evidence. You just heard that. And that was going to be the next point that I wanted us to discuss about. Isn't this a trick? Isn't this a trick that the leadership on the continent is working in collaboration with its counterparts, or all the kind of leadership or the partnerships that are building that we don't even know about, to chase the young people who could be the warriors on the continent, so that they bring in now their corporate partners in terms of business to own the lands and the minerals and give them money? That is also a point to think about. What is your opinion? Hello? Hello?
Dr. Teta.
Yes.
Hello.
I'm listening. Go ahead. All right. I'm sorry we lost him. Hello?
Hi.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Doctor. Hi, Evidence. I just have a contribution to make. I've been listening to the panelists, and one of the problems that is causing our brothers and sisters to leave the continent to go to Europe is the failure of the African governments to provide opportunities for our brothers and sisters in the continent. That's why they're leaving the continent to go to Europe or wherever they can find opportunities.
Absolutely.
Another point is that the African Union, what are they doing? Chairman Mr. Faki, why can't they pass a law for African youth to travel in different African countries where they can find the opportunities? For instance, if someone lives in Kenya, they can go to South Africa visa-free to look for a job. Now, if an African goes to another African country, he's a foreigner. If a European goes to an African country, he's an investor.
Yes.
That is the problem in Africa, and it needs to be addressed. It's very frustrating and very sad to see brothers and sisters dying in the Mediterranean Sea all the time. That's all I have to contribute.
Thank you very much for that powerful contribution, brother. We appreciate you. Of course, that's what we're saying. Now we're getting to the tricks of knowing that it is intentional. So they won't even bother, isn't it? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Hello?
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 All right, please check your connection and call back. I think, the network is not working. We've been listening to these contributions, evidence. You are taking note of all the recommendations and the questions. What is the government doing about it? Don't you think this is a trick, even for these governments to chase out the brains that could even, they're posing like a threat to them, chase them to the Europes, and whatever happens to them, they don't care, so that they could negotiate some business without anybody, questioning them. I'm picking up this other call and we get back to studio with you. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, Dr. Susan.
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm really happy for the show because I have been following you on this show for some time.
Thank you.
I'm really happy for the show because the last time I was follow you was last time you spoke with Tura as Freedom.
And freedom, yes.
Yeah, so I really appreciate the program. I'm very happy based on what evidence is saying. The problem we Africans have is that we don't trust ourselves as Africans. And most of the time, our brothers in Africa, they think that we are here playing or we are happy in whatever kind of work or job we are doing, but they don't know that we are suffering. And in a situation when you explain to them what we are passing through, they will not believe us. They will not believe. That is the problem.
Okay. Thank you so much for your contribution. Yes, of course. We know it.
It's very important for them to know, because when you are telling them the situation of Europe, they will tell you, if Europe is that difficult, what are you doing? Why can't you come back home? Let them be in Europe and also suffer like you.
Correct. I would ask the same. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the interruption. I mean, you know, it is difficult. This is the challenge that we're facing. How do I tell my brothers? How do they believe me? Evidence. Do you have such feeling? Do you have you had such, you know, how do I really make them to understand? Of course, there would be no solution to make them understand. Let them come and experience themselves, but we want to create solutions that are, I mean, they're transparent to save their lives. And we're putting in the structures. If you want to travel to Europe, I guarantee you the Pan-African Daily TV would solve your problem. Talk to us. Just tell us how you want to travel, when you want to travel, for whatever purpose you want to travel. We would help you. We would help you. We would give you all the solutions, right? And you can choose from them. We would advise you on how to travel safely, but we will never tell you don't come. It is difficult. You keep sending them dollars, you keep sending them money. It's difficult. And of course, you need to do it. How do you prove to them? What we're trying to do is a life-saving strategy. Telling them don't come, I don't know how. Till thy kingdom come, it is going to be tough. So let's face the fact. Let's take it by the horn. They will come. They should come. I also want them to come, but I don't want them to die at sea when they're coming here. Let's face the fact. Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, all right, thank you. My name is Daoud. I'm going to be very quick.
Please. Thank you.
Look, thanks very much. Look, I think all problems facing Africa, they are all stemming from the same problem. Okay, great. What I'm saying is all the problems facing Africa, they're all the same. In fact, the problem is just one. And the good thing is we know the problem. So if we can choose to change that problem, I think most of our problems will disappear. And the problem is leadership. I do not want to go into details. The problem is leadership, because the people, they become slaves in the other part of the world because they've got no hope in their own countries.
Absolutely.
So if I'm going to stay in a country where I'm going to die, if I'm going to go, I might die, but maybe I might have a chance to make it. So rather, let me take the chance. So what I'm saying is, for us to be able to stop this, remember, people dying is actually an opportunity to other people. Like now, people are even harvesting free organs for themselves.
Correct.
It's a big thing. So what we need to do is, we need to have a radical revolution to change leadership. Not the soft way we are going about it. We are the majority. We are many people, we are many Africans all over the world. If we come together, we decide, you know what? If it goes bloodshed state, okay, but if it's for better, let's do it.
All right.
We have leadership, we have everything. There's no reason for people to leave Africa and go to be slaves in another part of the world.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What I can tell you, to start with.
I'm sorry. Yes. All right. You wanted to keep it short. Keep it short, please. Hello. I'm taking the next call.
Yes, blessed day to everybody, or evening.
Yadi Yadi. Welcome.
Welcome, bless. It's been a minute, man. I'm so happy to be online, and this topic drawing me out more because that's something that we don't want to see anymore for our brothers and sisters in Africa leaving.
Yes.
Because it's great things are happening. If we can speak, I speak as a black man from this diaspora whose family have shipped here off the ship. So at the end of the day, we have fought for so long and stood here. We didn't get a chance to step back up boat home. We stood here and fought for everything that we achieved. So it's the same way we can pass on that energy with a spiritual connection by staying home.
Yes.
Don't get upset if someone say, do not migrate. There's nothing there for us. You understand me? Not saying opportunity won't be there for some, but it's not for all, based on how you take the traffic. If you take a plane, you will fight to be there. When you take the boat, there are circumstances. We don't know what they will do to our brothers and sisters. But why I'm calling this topic, though, sister and brother, blessed day, brother, evidence. My apology. I am saying this to the fellow Africans that is listening. If you're able to just stand ground and do not vote, stop the voting process. If we keep voting and electing these people, because remember, it's two-party, but it's one person that controls it. You know, you understand me? So if we are able to stop voting and start to create our little start small, create our own little small economical levels, a lot of our sisters and brothers will not be able to take in that chance to lose their lives, because most of them doesn't make it. So what sense is in it for you to leave and go die in somebody else's ground?
Correct.
You could have stayed home and try a little bit better. So the only way we can have these borders open up in Africa easily, and I'm telling you, if we just try it, because we haven't tried it, is do not vote. Do not vote.
Okay.
Stop the vote in Africa. Once we're able to stop the voting, what we call them, the industrial or the corporate world, who are creating this overcome our people, they will have to find another agenda. Either leave or turn over our place that belongs to us. So my thought for today is that I'm asking Africa and the rest of the world, because that's what's happening now. We need to stop voting. It's not helping us. We can say everything else, but the major thing that's killing us is the leaders that we did not select. You understand me? It's people that was elected to us. Check the stats. You understand me? So if we're able to stop putting persons that was elected to us and we put the one that we select to lead, trust me, Africa, we're good. We're good now, you know, because we're fighting through. We made it through the COVID. We still made it through anything else that we have made before, but we are going to make it this trip. So it's brothers like Brother Evans, Freedom, Sister Annika, Dr. Malumba, yourself, Dr. Susan Tata, and all the other persons that is standing up in their feet and still trying to give us information of how to survive of what we have. So give it a chance. Stop the voting, and we have less migrants, and we have less sufferation. Because remember, it's not us doing this to ourselves. It's the people that was elected to us causing our lives to be in this disturbed.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right,
Every call of you is a blessing. It's an added value added. Do not vote. That is what Africans are saying. Don't vote them. Don't give them your vote. I don't know, Honorable Kapamba, you're going to tell us how you're going to tap those votes that are coming in your present election. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hello. Yes.
My name is Patrick. I would just like to participate a little bit and share my idea.
Thank you so very much.
In the UK. Yeah. It's my first time to call on the show, but I always follow it. It's been a long time. And I've probably watched all of them. Yeah, the issue today about our brothers that are dying at sea. May their soul rest in peace, first of all. And we blame, well, there's so many issues. There are few numbers of issues. The first one, first of all, is us who are in the diaspora. Not all of us, but some of us are portraying that El Dorado idea of living in Europe. You know, we're portraying it to our brothers and sisters back in Africa. Some of us, not everyone is telling the truth about what is happening in the Western world. We're not telling our brothers the truth because I've got few people, and so many of us do have few people that they will save their money, you know, to just save their money for months and months and go and spend it in Africa for a week, you know, just, you know, they will be living in Africa like millionaires, you know, but it's the money that they've suffered for months and months and months, but they will tell people there that they're living in heaven. When they come back here, and they will start suffering again. That's the first one. And the second one is our leaders. It's a relief to see people living, because if you look at the statistics, people who are living are actually the brain of the continent.
Correct.
Some, you know, they are the brain of the continent. Some of those people who will challenge the system, because someone who's willing to actually go and die at sea to look for opportunities that they actually think is in Europe. That means they already know the opportunity they are lacking in Africa. That means that they could use power to fight the continent, but they don't use it. Do you know what I mean? They decide to leave, and there's that freedom. You know, there's that opportunity that gives them that chance to leave, so that at least leaders can be free.
Okay.
Because people who are staying, they are more like people who are not more, well, some of them are educated, but some of them are not educated enough to know, know how to travel. Some people don't know how to travel and to get to Europe. That's why they are staying. Some people will tell you, if I know the way, I will live. If I will die, I can die. And so the solution is we need to educate our young brothers, show them the opportunity, like one of your guests is doing, show them the opportunity that can be in the money, in sharing and putting together the money that they actually wasting in traveling to go and die at sea.
Correct.
Spend it back home.
Okay.
And of course, us as a diaspora, to tell the truth of what is happening here. Your show can do that.
Thank you so much.
Showing people how we're suffering here. The cold, your guest mentioned the cold, you know, give the show the people what's happening in European country. To us, maybe people will get enough information to know. And of course, encourage our people back home to fight for their rights, to fight, to actually question their leader, to put their leader in, you know, into account of what they are doing to them. African Union, you need to be questioned.
Okay.
You know, people need to follow what the kind of PLO Lumumba saying, the type of Magufuli, you know, and other leaders that are doing great jobs in Africa.
Thank you so much.
I think that's, I'll leave it to others.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. It's your first time of calling to share this with us. We really appreciate you. Thank you so very much for your contribution. Yes, thank you. Good. I think, yeah, I have to pick this one because he's been struggling. Adam Mohammed, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening to you, Dr. Sola Tata, and good evening to your guests and all your audience.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my name is Adam Mohammed.
Go ahead, we're listening, yes.
Yes. I think the program is about how we can actually convince our African to stay in Africa.
Yes.
Rather than continue with this deadly destination. For sure, it is very hard for us to convince ourselves to remain in the continent. And for you as in there, it's very hard for you to convince us to not attempt that deadly destination. The reason is Africans are disorganized. We can't say Africa is not wealthy. We can't say African people are poor, but we're poor managed. Since we are not organized, it's nothing alcohol. There's nothing about to convince each other.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing our daily based life. The life is hard. Some people are prepared to die rather than live in such life. Even if some of them in the Middle East, if they met a rescue team and they want to deport them, they're prepared to drown on the and they see and die rather than come back to Africa.
That's true.
It means there's a problem. It means there's a significant problem. Make the people to take that journey.
That's correct.
It's not a matter of people. It's not a matter of them seeing people in a luxury life, but the matter is here. The life is actually terrible. You go to the farming system, you're not earning anything. You graduate from school, from university, you're not getting job. Meanwhile, we have jobs. It's the same job we're living here, it's the same job we are going to get it there. But lack of organizing ourselves is the one making us to be in this situation. Let me give you an example. How many billions of Africans using clothes? Do we make that clothes in Africa? And we have a raw material as a cotton. We are making it. It is, I think I have a lot to talk, but the problem is not allowing. That's the problem is only we are not organized. If we organize ourselves, 1 million Africans work together by what they have, with the wills, with education, with all what they have, everything will be settled.
Okay.
One piece of this can bite, and if you keep talking individually, nothing we are going to change.
Mohammed, Mr. Mohammed, I'm gonna ask you to be my guest because I know you, I know how resourceful you are, and I know really what you can contribute to put this structure that you're talking about on the continent and for us in the diaspora. What you're saying is very pertinent, and we cannot just discuss it on a show getting your continent. Is it okay? I will get in touch with you.
It's okay. Yes, it's okay.
Thank you very much. I'll keep in touch with you. Thank you so much. I'm taking the last call for tonight, and then we go back to evidence. Hello? All right. Good. So that did not go through. Evidence, back to you in the studio. Are you there?
Yes, I'm with you live and direct.
No, thank you so very much. And you have heard these feedbacks coming from the callers, and now you begin to you have another perspective and feeling. Now, from the calls, what do you pick out? What is the way forward? I mean, the company idea that we already talked about it. We're still going to talk more about it because we're looking for solutions. Companies that would offer these solutions to people, consulting, getting their visas processed. You know, most Africans don't even know how to process their visas at the embassies. That's also one point, right? We're going to talk about leadership and the reason why they move. I said that's another topic. That one we will not even be able to digest that. But we want to talk about how do we rescue? How do we offer solutions that these ones, no matter what you do, would come? It is their right to come. Number two, the last caller made a very important comment, which is realistic. Even the ones that take this risk at sea and they meet with the rescue team to rescue them from drowning, those that have the feeling that they will be brought back or they will be deported back to the continent, they kill themselves. We've not only seen that, even recently in Germany, in Europe, a young African killed himself at the deportation camp. He already managed, and we can talk these stories over and over again. An African that is already here and then facing deportation, and he commits suicide. Why would an African coming from such a rich continent decide to die than to be there? Evidence, it's a problem.
Yes, you are very right. To start with, the number one point you raised was regarding the callers. The callers, they have done a good job, and also good to give them the opportunity to speak. And when I saw the analysis from the course, there were more people talking about leadership. So let me quickly address that. The problem of Africa is not leadership. It's not leadership, and it has never been leadership. So Africans still don't get it. That is why Africans will continue to say leadership and leadership, and the day we go dark, they have not achieved anything. The problem of Africa is state of mind. So I give you a case study. If you give Africans maybe all Africans need to come into government once, like every 7 days. So let's say, like my country, for example, you give Africans, you give them opportunity to just be leaders for 1 week. So you have to change Africans' leadership per week in an entire year or an entire 5 years. If you do it as a case study, you will still realize they have not achieved anything. Because before they were complaining is leadership, but now when you give them what they call a case study, they will not still achieve anything. Why? Because the problem of Africa is state of mind. Africans don't have the same state of mind yet. So if you blame your leader, that the leader is the problem, why the other African country don't have good leader? Why is it that when that one leave, why is it that the other one is still bad? So where is the good leader? And if, for example, the good leader comes, like you say is the problem, you now finally see a good leader, and something happened to that good leader, why it takes period of time to look for a good leader like him? Then you start seeing heroes, Thomas Sankara, all these African heroes. Some of them already died before I was born. So why is there, since I was born, there has not been another hero similar? Is it that they didn't listen to his teaching? Is it that they are not motivated? So it is not leadership, it's state of mind. Africans need to have one state of mind, because Africa is not a continent. Africa is a state of mind. Civilization is not continent or countries. They confuse Africans with these things because they don't understand the psychology behind it. It's a state of mind. So let's give you an example. In civilization, we have different tribes, and these tribes represent flags, language, and many passports and jargons. So if you study them carefully, you will discover that they are tribes. So let's take Germany, for example. When Germany went to war, Second World War, after they were defeated, there was a small country next to Germany. They let them have their independence. They are one of the smallest countries in the world. So they became a country. So if maybe the Second World War was in favor of Germany, they would have later on have the problem like Africa. Because now you are combining tribes and different things to become a country. So like my country, for example, is a country, but some people are crying they want to break out. What you want to break out is not a tribe. You are trying to break, you are trying to break into what we call a tribe, not a country. So Africans are tribes, just like the same way you see these are foreign civilization. They are tribes that make up a country, but Africa don't have that opportunity or luxury. So it's possible for you to see an African country with many tribes, and that nature of African say is not my tribe. What is his name? Is happening, and so that needs rehabilitation. So it's not about the leader. If you take him away, that bad leader, there is 100% chance the next one is still bad. And also the reason again is the reason that has to do with colonization. The civilization or the people who form civilization, they are not so intelligent. Africa are more intelligent than them, but they are more violent. So the first thing they did to turn Africa colonized, slavery, everything, they applied what we call violence. Africa has not replied that in violence. What Africa did with violence was between tribes, within country. independence of Africa was not violence, except only South Africa. So all these things need to be taught, because Africa issue is a state of mind. Because if the state of mind is gotten right from childhood and they are raised with the right foundation, if you take out any African leader that you claim is good, there's 100% chances that the next one will be better.
Correct.
But currently, that is not the case. So now somebody say, I'm a military. Why did you make a coup d'etat? You made a coup d'etat and now you are military for 30-something years. So anybody who speak up, you want to kill him. It's your state of mind. And also the influence of colonization, because they are backing you. If not, if they really care about Africans, they will come and take you from your office the next day. They have the power because they are violent. Okay, so now they are not, so they know exactly what they are doing. They are taking advantage of our weakness. So we all just need to understand our weakness. It's not about leadership. They are taking advantage of our weakness, all Africans. So we now have to come together and say, what is our weakness? Okay, let's start to develop template formats that will guarantee that my weakness is protected, your weakness is protected, because now we are tribes who are turned into country. So there will be always disagreement, because maybe it's not my tribe person that is in leadership. So you don't need to be upset. You don't need to be angry. Let him just do his time and go, and let your person come. And if we choose rotation, fine. If we want to choose intelligence, like let the best. Some people will still complain because we still have what they call international relationship, because the colonizers, they take advantage of our weakness. They are very intelligent creatures. So the intelligence is just to take advantage of our weakness. It's not that they are intelligent than us. And the second thing is the application of violence. And thirdly, like we said, when you tell an African not to come, where is the African going to? The people who died now, where are they going to? It's just one place across the sea. They are not going to China. China has moved fast. China was also colonized, but their state of mind is the kind of government and their industrialization and the level they have gotten to. Their state of mind. That is what has brought them where they are now. So you cannot see an African saying, I'm going to China, because that African was not colonized by Chinese. He has no relationship with the Chinese. You are going to Europe or civilization because you feel they are your brothers and sisters. You feel that I'm speaking English, for example. Now you feel that they have given you something you need to be responsible, you need to be thankful for, and you still need more. It's just like a rat that you are setting trap for. So if I'm speaking your language and we are speaking this language, we somehow can feel, oh, let's appreciate them because we are speaking their language. So that means we should be grateful to them. So it's a state of mind. We all have to work on our state of mind. And if we do, you will discover that no African will be dumb enough to take his life, because his state of mind is right. He's not blaming anybody. His state of mind is right. Because now if you blame the leader as an excuse, then you are going to kill yourself because of the leader. And also, I'm challenging the Africans in diaspora. You know these things, but maybe you cannot explain them correctly. So you are also the solution, because you have been the responsibility of African currently now. If you ask me, leadership of Africa and Africans in diaspora, who is to blame? The Africans in diaspora are more to be blamed compared to leadership. Because the African in diaspora, in the history of African relationship with civilization or colonizer, they were the biggest and greatest force who have always brought the solution to the table. Because they have been there, they have lived with them. Independence is African diasporas who gave it to us. So now them now have to say, it's not about leadership. Because you African in diaspora, you can take the leadership of any country and there's nobody can stop you. Because the people who will back the government against you, you already know their play. And the person you are going to take the leadership from is the African like you already know his play. So you in the game you are undefeated. That is if you want to make a change. So if they want to blame, you can blame Africans in diaspora for leadership. Then the immigration problem, you cannot blame the African in diaspora. That you have to blame it on the state of mind of Africans. So these things need people who study them, because any country you see, the people who provide changes are people who are critical to study these things. It's not like a discussion for everybody, no. It's a discussion for certain group of people. And now I'm challenging Africans in diaspora. You are the problem of Africa. So if you say is a leadership, you are wrong. You are the problem. Organize yourself. Go to your communities. Go to your countries. Because in the cause, you will discover percentage of the people in the diaspora are complaining. We are telling them not to come. It's not good. They don't listen. You don't need to tell them. You need to be actionable. You need to, you as Africans in diaspora, you can hold any government accountable. Any government, even if it's a military general, no matter who is backing them, because the people will also want to play the media game. Like, oh, funny, when you are trying to achieve your goal. So, for example, you are Africans in diaspora, and you want to take out a military general who is an African leader. You organize yourself, you go in one, you go with your camping and everything, your bottle. Leave the women, leave the children. We are men. And this is the program I want to run for Nigeria currently. I'm working on that because I'm African in diaspora and I can hold anybody in that Nigeria accountable, except you are not guilty. But if you are guilty and I want to hold you accountable, nobody can help you, not even civilization, except you take my place. You go to them, then I will come home. Since it's so great and so beautiful and you're taking all the resources to them, then you go with the resources. But if something happened to me, what is the percentage? What is the chances that there is another me, there's another me, there's another me? So somebody will say, we will use him to do example and the rest will run away. We should change our mentality.
I'm laughing because evidence, you're so true.
It's just the way it is, because there are issues that I don't like to comment, but when I comment on it, it's not because, like, your program is about the solutions. We are not here to talk about this. If Africa want the solution is there. If you try any remedy, it will not work. But if you go for the real solution, the problem will be solved, because civilization was built by men and not God. And that civilization we are talking about is what is causing death for Africans. So if it was built by men, how did they build it? When? What is the strategy? Then you look at the whole history. There's nothing that doesn't have weakness. You understand? That is why you see the technology today, they will say attack. There's nothing that doesn't have weakness. It was created by man, and there must be vulnerability. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but African leaders are not perfect. So if they are not perfect, get rid of them. You get rid of them. Then put the leaders who are good. Let's see them within a period of time. If those ones are not good, you get rid of them again. But we have to use the right approach. You understand? So to make everything in general, the problem is not leaders. The problem is Africans in diaspora. They are the problems, because they are on top of the hierarchy of the African structure. This is why people are looking up to you. No matter what you say to them, they still want to come, because you are telling them it's not good, is this, is it? But why are you still there? Because that's why I tell you, Africans are very intelligent. They will say, why are you still there? It's not good. This is why they will die, because you are not showing good example. It's not the leaders, it's you. So you have to now have a body Whereby, let's say Nigeria, for example, how many Nigerians are in diaspora? I want to know the statistic. They can take over the country in one, I'm not saying leadership, just community service. They can do it batch by batch. You take your holidays just to go. But while you are doing this, you have to because like I said, we have two Africans, the good and the bad. So if you are really good, and you know you are good, your hands are clean, and you are facing something that is bad, trust me, you have to do it in a certain way, because the light is always the light is greater than darkness, or I don't know how to say it, you know. So there are a lot of things to scare a lot of Africans away from Africa that will still make them remain diaspora. A lot of things. For me, I know a lot of things that I'm enjoying in civilization, but I don't care about it. I don't really care about it. But when somebody see me because I'm still in diaspora, they will say, oh, but you are still there now. I want to be like you and this thing. So I have to now change my mentality and say, okay, I get your point. You are right. But I know when I go to Africa, I'm putting my life at risk because I'm faced with evil mentalities, which is not the problem of leadership, like we are saying, because now I'm in Africa. So is it now a problem of leadership? Then it's not up to me to see how I can come to the table with the government. Because government is not spirit, they are humans. So when I come to the table, but you don't do it individually, it's risky. Okay, if you do it individually, it's very risky because they will look, it's like, it's your idea, is you are greedy. No. Have Africans in diaspora who have the same mentality and willing to go. That is why I want to launch a program called Nigeria Homework. All Nigeria in diaspora is a challenge to them. You have to do your homework. If your house is on fire, you cannot be building another man's house for him. At the end of the day, there must be challenges and the person will say, okay, you have to go back. What do you go back to? A burning house? Or you want to give excuse of leadership? Let every African remove that term leadership from their mind, because you are the leader. If you're sure you are really good, come out, talk to us, reach out to the people. If you die, we know you die. It's not different from the people who die in the Caribbean, but you are making a change. You are trying to say, okay, I am not the problem, but now I'm challenging them that they are the problem because it's the truth. If they go in masses, they need to do it courtesy visit. You can hold the government responsible and say, what's going on? I'm African in diaspora. You are not one well represented. You need to know, as Africans, you need to know how to talk. This is also something that needs to go general to all Africans, which means self-presentation. Sometimes you can say if maybe you are faced with a camera, maybe you are in a group, you say, no, it's not my responsibility to speak on this matter. Please consult whoever, which is your head. You don't just start to talk, because we have energy. You know, there are things you need to charge. You don't need to charge us. We charges things. We have natural energy. So we should know how to manage that energy. We need to know how self-presentation. We need to teach the children as they are growing up. You know, this is something we need to do. This also will help the communication between us, so that somebody will not say, oh, you are angry, or I don't. So we need to learn how to talk to ourselves, you know, gradually. Then it will show that, okay, because the truth of the matter is that, like I talk about tribes, this thing called race, black, white, and everything, is not only it's not only black and white. There are other people who are not black or white. They are watching. You understand? So these other people, they have also done a lot of things in their own community. So the challenge now is we the people called black, we need to challenge ourselves to do something for our community. If we are really saying leadership, we would spend too much time, less us. For me, I have made it known, and I will continue to make it known, that it's Africans in diaspora that will go to Africa and fix Africa. They should not blame the government. They are the next leader, They are the next governors, they are next doctors, they are next lawyer. Me, the things I can do for Africa in terms of what we call IT, I don't think I can do it in civilization. They don't need me. They're already advanced. So let me take the little knowledge I have and say, oh, young African boy, I have some few things I want to teach you, because they don't know. So that is something we need. Lawyers is not only leaders, okay? And everything will be fine, trust me, because we need to reassess our situation, what we think about things, and we should just take it slow. First, we have too much energy. That's one thing. That energy makes everybody is like a vibration. We need to cool that energy first. Everyone, cool down. Because in civilization, if you observe them, they have less energy. They believe in collective responsibility. So if I go to Africa now, for example, an African man is busy using his hand to cut the grass. You don't need to do that. Because if you go to civilization, nobody is doing that. So what do? I will tell you how they operate. In civilization, they will group themselves, which is collective responsibility, and spend times and days to dialogue to make mechanics or machinery. So that thing takes time. They will not develop it. And that machinery can cut a grass from here in maybe 10, 20 kilometers in 1 hour. But an African man is still busy doing it with his cutlass. He doesn't have to. Africans are supposed to sit down and create. That means they need to sit down to do things together than try to do it individually. Your brain cannot carry it alone. No matter everything we are doing as African, look for the next African who will support you, who will help you. If you think you are a jack of all trades, you will break down. We should start to develop the culture of asking for help. Me, I'm a person who like to ask for help, because when somebody asks me for my help, I don't say no. I sacrifice, because I know it's an help. Depend if the thing is beneficiary for the person. So the point now is that we should believe that all Africans should take it as a point of lesson. You cannot do even childbirth. You, as a woman, you cannot do it alone. I don't know if it's possible. So I believe all Africans should do things with other Africans, share your ideas, work together. A job that will take one person, it's years. A job that will take 1 minute, we take a lot of people. That's why they call it community. Reach out. Say, oh, how do you go to YouTube? Learn how to ride a bicycle. Learn how to swim. This is how the European operates. Even the colonization is not one. That's why it's very difficult to tear it down. They all are involved. Anything they do, they are all involved. It's not one person. But we African, most of the things we do it individualistic. It's a mentality. It's not good.
I think evidence, we would have to break this this knowledge. It's a whole. You see, that's the issue. It's just so much to do. I don't even know how we're gonna start that. From where to where to where. There's just too much work to do. But one good thing that I want to thank you for being here. And also, I just don't know, I've been trying to reach out to Oliver. I can't get him back. And yeah, I know he's been facing some challenges out there. I wanted us to talk about his work on the PLO Lumumba Foundation as a young leader and a mentor and a country coordinator. And he had a lot to share, the strategies that they are putting up, particularly on these groupings that you're talking about, because that's what the foundation is really focused on. And you know, I talk about this foundation because that's one of the foundations I know so well. I'm sitting on the board of that foundation, and I'm so proud of what Pierre Lumumba is doing. Professor Pierre Lumumba, if you hear him being so vocal, right? But a lot don't know the structure that he's putting for the young leadership and the young people in 48 countries in Africa, and even growing, and in the diaspora. That is the point where you're saying, how can we support? How can we contribute? How can we join? But most often, we are focused on creating the individuality. We have all that it takes. Now we need to be united. So we're piping down at every niche and every communication. One thing is certain: unity. Unity. We can never move away from this word of unity. Call it community, call it communalism, call it collective. It boils down to unity. The African is not united, and so the civilized, as you call them, take the advantage to tear us more apart. And even we love tearing ourselves even more apart, and they enjoy it. They enjoy it. Every separated community, every country that is fighting each other, like Chad is going to war with itself, Cameroon, Southern Cameroon, some Amazonians going to war, even amongst themselves. You go to Uganda, it's the same thing. You go to Ethiopia, everywhere on the continent, all, and you will see who the invisible hand of the civilized, as you say, going always to mediate, going always to be the masters, to coordinate, to look whether they are getting together. If we're getting together, no, it's not good. They have to stay the way they are. They have to be so confused. You know, the father has to fight with the son with the father, the mother and the daughter. The family has to be, there should be no possibility for them to be together. Like you're saying, they use our weakness and it is a strength for them. Now, it is our homework, like you're saying. It's not just the Nigerian homework. It is our duty on the Pan-African Daily TV to look for these solutions. Like we say, we keep lying without being conscious. We lie even and lie to our own selves without being conscious. So it's a state of mind, and I agree. It's just like we just do some things over and over without being conscious of them. For instance, just telling somebody, oh, don't come, it is so bad. You know so damn well that you have job security, health care security. You even would have the protection of life. You know so well. It is impossible to tell your brother on the continent that, no, don't come. We know the stress, the psychology, but you're enjoying some benefits, like he's saying, and you would not want to disagree to that. So it's difficult for you to tell an African that has nothing, doesn't even know his name, doesn't even know what his future, what the future of their children. Look at the young women. They don't even know how they're going to do. And you just come up from Europe and tell them, oh, don't come because it's this. Come on, give me a break. I mean, they would die coming here until they come and they realize it's a different state. Then they begin to also. So should we all come and die at sea? No, I think we can do it differently, like you're saying. It is an exchange. It's a will. Let us all team up, get together in groups, engage on the continent. There is no other way. We can do our jobs. Of course, we need to live. We need to exist. We need to take care of ourselves, our responsibility. But apart from that, don't be comfortable just doing 8 hours a day in a week. Honestly, we know that we have a continent to build. So 8 hours a day, you pay your bills and everything. Put extra 8 hours. We should not sleep. It is a 24/7 for us to be able to recycle this Africa. I don't think it would just be enough to say, yes, leadership is just one. How many leaders do we have? I think we have 600 of them. And compared to 1.3 billion, wow. So the majority is us, the numbers. So I want to thank all of you. I want to encourage us. It is our duty. We're going to sit here and talk. Yes, but it's not just the talking. I want to thank all of you that call in. Every single call that you made is an education. Every conversation that we made here, whether through the chat, whether through the comments, whether through the calls, whether even just sharing this video, it's an education. And that's why we're calling upon you all the time. We have a campaign going on. It's called Campaign 121, 1 million subscribers hashtag, right? And like I said, we're not YouTubers, we're not bloggers. We are freedom fighters. How do we fight without getting the numbers? Every conversation, Freedom was here. We all poured in. He inspired us. We're getting into a production series with him to bring this motivation. How many people are we reaching out? How many of you shared that video? How many of you liked and comment? How many of you subscribed? But I can see a tremendous feedback. And I saw this likes, this comments, this subscription just in a couple of days. We are proud of ourselves. And I'm very serious and I'm concerned, and I know we will do it. We will deliver. It is a process, but we are on it. I want to thank you, Evidence. You want to round up the conversation and we make it a date tomorrow because we have another interesting topic coming up. For you that are watching, we have a king that is coming up. He's going to tell us about the relationship between the United Nations and Africa. We have been reaching out to experts on this topic. Now, what is the United Nations doing to Africa, for God's sake? Have we ever thought about it? What benefits is this whole big structure sitting there? We hear about programs here and that, the United Nations Committee for Human Rights, the United Nations Security Council, the United Nations. What does the United Nations do for Africa? So we want to get this perspective. We are on the journey to educate, like our brother Evidence is saying. It's a state of mind. Let us hold these organizations accountable. What advantage do we have working with you? Because we're about to restructure and re-strategize our relationships in working with you. We are renegotiating our continent. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing would you do about it. So, but the first thing is for us, the Africans, like you said, the state of mind, to understand what is the United Nations. They've been on, they unite the whole world, but they're so specific. You have the United Sustainable Development Goals to Agenda 2030. And you look at the agenda, Africa Agenda 2063. Does an African understand? All these agendas, we would educate ourselves, we'll go point for point and goal to goal, and we take a retrospective. For how many years we've been saying that, and we are here today talking about it. It can never be business as usual. Over to you, Evidence, while you round up.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing me to this program. I'm honored, and it's just to summarize everything I said. I'll do my best, individually, in group, to be able to help my fellow African, because when I came to civilization, I felt lonely and I felt that I am an African. So we are all colonized, and that colonization has to be remedied gradually, which is affecting our state of mind. So we should learn how to be able to work together. If you don't know, ask an African, because the point is we are going to face challenges, of course. So like civilization, the time civilization was built, I used to tell people that civilization was built by men who put their food on the fire. They put rice on the fire, and they went to Africa to get the sauce. So they knew that the rice was on the fire. So before the rice will get burned, they had to do anything in Africa to bring the sauce, to feed their family, to eat. So we Africans also have to have that mentality. So the civilization was not built by God. It was very bad from the beginning, worse than Africa, So Africa don't have any problem, like the nature, the land, is the people, we the Black people, that is being conflict. We have conflict in our state of mind. So we cannot value anything there. So it's not like we need to go in another continent because we put rice on the fire and we need to come back quick with the sauce to eat. It's not that mentality. Everything is there already. It's just the state of mind, the relationship among us, and how we can bring other Africans who have done wrong accountable for their wrongs, because this is one of the key goals to sustain civilization. You can tear civilization down in one day if they become accountable to each other. Okay, so if, for example, in civilization, somebody can just do something and escape and run to Africa or take something, then civilization will go in just one day, in 1 month. You see, they will tear it down. But in civilization among themselves, they are accountable. So we should not see being accountable to our African people as a bad thing. No, it's a good spirit. And if somebody want to bring you accountable, either say you are sorry or pay the price according to the law. But we should not use the civilization rules for our people. We should try to go back. Let's try to know how many Africans that can still have some knowledge of how it used to be. Though it was not perfect before the relationship, we had our challenges, but we don't shoot gun. You know, we don't kill ourselves. We wrestle because we are warriors. We just fight to settle our dispute. But now they put a gun in your hand. It's faster for you to kill more people. So we are using we are just being confused. So we should start to rehabilitate ourselves, the old, the young, and the future of the generation. It can be done with only the right procedure and identifying the right problems and paying attention to them. A lot of things can be done within a short time. And the people I can trust or I can give the mantle of responsibility to is Africans in diaspora and also African Americans. These are also the people who can help Africa, the good ones, okay? They should also get a lot of message from Africa asking for their help, because in civilization, it's their neighbor that is coming to break the bottles and break everything. So they should be challenged and say, we prefer them to come to help, because the people who are coming to ruin everything are their next door neighbors. So they should come rather than their next door neighbors who are not Africans to break up the place. So we have to we have to create a bridge between us and them, like whatsoever it takes, because these people actually have the knowledge. I'm not talking about knowledge of school. I'm not talking of knowledge of reading and writing. They have the knowledge to predict what can happen next. So, for example, you're in Africa. Some Africa in diaspora also have the knowledge to predict what can happen next if Africa go in any direction. So they are closer to where the forces that is challenging Africa is. So we need their help. They need to come, they need to create a bridge, because this is how it's going to, the only solution. It's not about leadership. It's about state of mind and the people you are appealing to for help. If you are sick, you don't need to go to maybe the pilot. You need to go to the doctor, and the doctor will help and ask you what is wrong. So let Africans who really know the solution to the problem handle it, not the ones who are currently handling it. These people cannot, they don't have the knowledge. They are just colonized, having certain mindset. So you, the other ones who have the right mindset, need to identify that it doesn't have the right mindset. So you can go there and help. If not, the problem will continue. Even if I turn 100 years, we will still be talking about it. But the solution has to start now. State of mind, relationship, Africans in diaspora, Africans, Americans. These are the keys, because what happened to African to make it so worse, there are people who are responsible. So you need people who knows the antidote to what they have done, okay, who have the healing remedy, who have the right solution. Africans in diaspora are sending a lot of money back home. It's not only about money. It's about your physical presence, what you are doing. Volunteer to be a teacher, volunteer to be a lawmaker, whatsoever. Try to get into the system, because Africa need to have a system that is better than every place on this planet have a system, and system means state of mind of the people, how they operate. So Africa has to have a state of mind that bring in the people who have the right knowledge to remove the bad things going on in the system now, because you cannot continue to blame them, but see what you can do. Don't blame anybody, see what you can do. This is how we end the discussion for today.
Thank you very much, Evidence. Thank you. I mean, we've been hearing all guests, or we've been listening to them, and I still want to apologize on the behalf of Honorable Kapamba, who really could not stay with us. He did everything. He's been struggling. I think power just went out. That's also one of the challenges on the continent. And this also we shall fix. Yes. Right. So thank you, brother, for being here. It was a wonderful pleasure, and keep the good work. And we want to follow up on that homework, Nigeria. If it's a strategy that works for Nigeria, so we're going to multiply it to the entire continent and the diaspora. Thank you so very much. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Right. So thank you also, you that are watching. And I want to give out a shout out. You know what happened today in the morning? Finally, one of my biggest team follower, commentator, chatter, and one of, like I said, the critical thinkers that we have here on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube chatter called Kofi Zuma. And I got to actually, we got to relate today on personal basis. Like I used to share and we share, and we never knew that the numbers were our own, and we were searching each other. If you are that follower and you don't know our WhatsApp number, please 49 plus. Make sure you put a plus, because as you know, we're based in Germany. Plus 49 is the area code of Germany. And then you put 1578 211 2379. When you send us a text, make sure you give your name. I had been exchanging messages because Kofi Azuma, all of you, you know him in the chat group here, and Johnny Boy, you all know them, Koboko Sauce, all of us, we know ourselves. But most often or in the chat, Nesha, Patrick Kasarim, and the two boys, they know the numbers, but some numbers come without names. Please, if you write to us, you want to join a WhatsApp group, now our groups are more organized. And because the sharing of our daily program makes it so challenging that we don't reach out to everybody, we just prefer to put them in the WhatsApp group and they share. And Kofi Zuma is one of our sharers, and Johnny and all of them. So please text us. Just give us your number. That's the volunteering we're looking for. You just want to be in the group. Do you want to moderate the group? Do you want to be, just share the messages or the videos that we're doing? Is there something that you want to give us a feedback, particularly when we're having the conversations? We would be glad to hear from you. So make sure you click our WhatsApp, send us a text anytime, every soon. We are open on our WhatsApp at any time. I mean, I don't respond directly, but Naisha and the other team members and the group members, if there is anything in any group and they reach us to our attention, we rectify them. So I want to thank you. We are reachable anytime. Make sure you connect. We have work to do. I see a lot of people asking now, how can I help? Particularly those on the continent and those that are really reaching out a lot. Of course, they have the time. They're motivated to see us united. They are connecting to their brothers in the diaspora. I thank all of you that have created group projects and all, and you are connecting and teaching. I cannot end this show without thanking the organic African paradigm. I would like to have Brother Manik again sometime. It's been a long time. He's doing a lot of teaching. He has built groups and he's teaching young Africans all over the continent and even the diaspora. And the group is exploding every day about the organic African paradigm. You know, we've hosted him a couple of times, I think twice on the show, but we would like to get him again to get back the feedback. But I see the group grows and grows and grows, and he's always there with his lectures. And now we also have our brother these groups are already existing. It's just that most of us don't know. Some of us in our WhatsApp group, we end up sharing messages and texts, but we're actually not studying. But we have a lot of study groups. Professor James Moore is coming up with a study group. Maponga Joshua is coming up with a study group. Rutendo would be with us on Friday. He confirmed he couldn't make it on that day because of technique and all that, but he's coming. He has a study group and all. There's just a lot of study groups that are coming up. Belong to any of this group. Akup was here. Yeah, the Africa Continental Unity what party? Yes, they also having study groups, and most of them are offering a lot of seminars. ADDI, it's been long, we've not gotten in touch with Mother, but Mother is doing very well, and she's active doing work out there. And there are study groups. There are a lot of study groups coming up. There are already some that are already existing. Do you want to belong to a study group? Text us on our WhatsApp and tell us your concern, what study groups. We're still looking for health practitioners, healthcare, medical doctors to put up a study group only on health. Now we know that Maponga is putting his study group. It's on farmers of thought. You all know it. Most of you are following him on the group on his daily teachings and his chapters. And he's really growing up. I think he's about chapter 100 and something now on the farmers of thought. And you know what it's all about? It's about our indigenous African culture and knowledge, right? Our traditions, our kingdoms and all. Even our belief system. That is Maponga, right? And so PL Lumumba Foundation, they have the leadership program. So we are not lacking in leadership. We're not lacking in education. We are not lacking in stuff. You want to belong to a group, make sure you are active. Like Evidence is saying, we need to be proactive. We need to get engaged on the continent. But I also have feedbacks even of those that are already on the continent that went through during this period, and they're giving me a lot of feedbacks. Oh, Dr. Susan, it's not easy being on the continent. We never knew that even people on the continent has such a mentality about us in the diaspora, particularly our brothers in the Caribbean, in the Americas that are relocating. I have a lot of them say, oh, I'm so shocked that we were so, apart from just the beauty, it is the mind. Make your experience and you enjoy it. But a lot of them, they went through all this first time, shock, into cultural shock, but now they're enjoying it. And now I get the feedback like, oh, it's okay, we're getting along and stuff like that. Please get engaged. Belong to a group. Propose a study group. Lead a group in the health sector, in business, in agriculture, in whatever thing, in culture, in history. Build a group, and we would give you access to a mentor if you don't have one. Groups is what is going to make us more united and connect with one another. I want to thank you. We'll see ourselves tomorrow. I've been spending time just blah, 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 blah. Throw out the ones that are not necessary. Pick out the ones that are very useful. It's been 4 days that we've not connected, and there's been a lot happening. Tomorrow, we're going to be giving you some breaking news and some stories around the continent on just a news flash. But of course, we're going to host this special guest. They're coming double pack or 3. Still going to confirm, but the main chief has confirmed, and his ambassadors around, they want to educate us. They're Africans, right? They want to educate us to tell us it has not been helpful in this relationship, but how can we do to make it? We're already living in a global world. We're not going to separate ourselves from them, but we want to focus on us, right? Okay, so thank you. It's time. Oh my God, Oliver is writing here. I think he just want to sign in to give us some feedback why he cannot connect to us. Let me just try if I can call him. At least the brother has been struggling. He wants to reach out to us, and he's saying, I am just let down. Let us get to Oliver. Honorable
Dr. Susan,
I'm so sorry. I know your challenge out there. That's why I'm reaching you just to say something to the audience, because a lot of them are still there. They were still expecting you to come live and to share with us. Can you just tell them something, even just on audio? We appreciate your struggle. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Susan. I did have a lot to share. And our audience, sorry, I think this network and the technology has really let us down. Actually, I was just sharing on the population of Africa compared to the plan, the planning for growth, where I was saying that
we do not have a proper planning system to accommodate the population growth of Africa. This is why we see that many young Africans are running into other places like Europe, America, by whatever means, because they have established systems that accommodates the human capital of the youths of the African. When they get there, regardless of having but here in Africa, it is difficult. Even people are graduating from universities, people are graduating from colleges, and they have technical skills to be put in the system and be employed. And this is all because of poor planning and the lack of the challenge that we have in Africa, the issue of our type of education system which we have. Our education system is more theoretical than practical. We need to have a practical approach of education that will be able to institutes to have something to do with their own hands, unlike depending on being employed. Because if we are expecting that Africa will be made better by other people, then we are lying to ourselves. It is us ourselves who make Africa become better. And we should also change the mindset to think, to continue. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, it's an embarrassment to continue stating, putting it that Africans are going for greener pastures. I think Africa itself is has a lot of greener pastures. It's a mindset system. If people are coming to Africa to get raw materials, then there's something that we can utilize right here where we are. See, we have these young Africans who are paying even slightly above $5,000 US to just cross in that and connect into the Mediterranean Sea into Europe. The $5,000 US, between $5,000 and $10,000 US, that's a lot of money that one can use to set up something for themselves. Here in Zambia, if you have a now to these systems we have, to this education system we have, allow us to use our own skills, our own hands, with a capital of amounting to $5,000 US and start creating employment for ourselves and for other youths. So it is also a problem of the mindset that we have as Africans. We should see plenty here. We should see Africa as a land of greener pastures where we can start utilizing whatever valuable resources we have and create heaven here in Africa.
Okay.
Yes, though.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. At least we were able to connect with you despite the break-ins that you're having. At least you brought across your message to us, and we're really thankful for that. I just wanted you to say something about your position on the PLO Lumumba Foundation as a country coordinator, and the trainings that you people are doing, the engagement that you are actually, redirecting or restructuring the young mind. From your experience, do you see any person that is any young leader or the leadership course that you're doing, any African that has a need to even cross over to Europe?
Actually, with this, the Promo Foundation has given us a good opportunity as young people to link amongst ourselves within Africa. It has challenged us to realize that we need to set our own narrative. We need to define our own problems and organize solutions within ourselves as Africans. So from among ourselves, I think what the biggest resource that we want to utilize, like here in Zambia, is that we want to identify land. Because Zambia, of course, has 10 provinces, and we want to identify this a portion of land province where we can now for other young people. There is no need whatsoever for us young people to start even demanding the lifestyle in Europe, the lifestyle in America. This is why we are calling upon the diaspora, the Africans who are not who are outside Africa to start also identifying opportunities to invest back in Africa, because we are saying here we are, because the challenge we have again is the source, the financial resource.
Okay.
Because what has also affected our programs, it is the financial resources. Otherwise, we have the mindset, we have the ability to utilize any support system that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I mean, you did your best, and we are appreciating you, and we also are really patient with these technical setbacks and break-ups and whatever. And I really want to appreciate you. You are a wonderful audience. The need to develop this Africa is seen in you. All my followers, all our viewers on the Pan-African Daily TV, I congratulate you. It is because of you that we sit here every day, because you have the ability to be so patient. It doesn't matter the setbacks or whatever, we wait until we get it through. So I want to thank you so much. We are all warriors. Instead of using guns and bullets from the civilization, we're going to wrestle, but we are going to look for that solution by ourselves. So tune in tomorrow. We're going to share the trailer with you tomorrow about that. But like what he was saying, like I already promised you, we're going to get the president. Get it from my mouth. The president of Zambia. There is a lot of export possibilities for the diaspora to invest in Zambia, particularly in terms of agriculture. And we want to start bringing these leaders. Let them not just sit and drink tea parties. Let them come and tell us where to invest, what is the challenges they're having. And particularly, we really want to ask him, what is going on with China in Zambia? So stay tuned. There's a lot that is going to happen on the Pan-African Daily TV. But we see ourselves tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. Europe. You know the various times, but you know what to do. Click and subscribe. Press the notification bell. You'll be announced when we are live. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye. But one last thing. Let us just watch that video again. The video is gone. All right. Sorry. Yeah, it's saying it's gone. So we see ourselves tomorrow. Good night.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 # 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.